Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Yankees have made a trade for an outfielder, a left-handed outfielder, but not the one that we're hoping for, although that is still very much in play and on the table. The Yankees and Red Sox make a trade. Alex Verdugo is going to the Yankees, and the Yankees, in return, deal to the Red Sox Greg Weissert, who has been back and forth between the majors and AAA the last couple of seasons. Richard Fitts, who was a Double-A starter this past season, pitched pretty well. He was actually a number 12 on MLB.com's top 30 Yankee prospects, so was 12th, and so he goes to Boston. And as well, Nicholas Judice, who is another right-handed pitcher and was just drafted in this 2023 draft by the Yankees, so really young, not much to say on him. So the Yankees didn't trade too much away. I guess in terms of upside, I mean, Fitts, the numbers were impressive for what he did in Double-A. With I guess it would have been the Somerset Patriots. Yeah, he went 11-5, 3.48 ERA, 163 strikeouts, and 152 thirds innings. Really impressive numbers. And Greg Weissert, who again we've seen back and forth, I could see him maybe becoming a high leverage reliever if the stars align for him. Like, we've seen him at times get called up and really kind of get beaten around, but then other times kind of look impressive. And the numbers have been good. Like when he was in Scranton, the numbers were good the last couple seasons, like across the board. Very impressive. So I could see him being something. All that said, I definitely think that just taking everything aside, and we'll dive into what this means big picture, but just looking at this trade, I like it. Alex Verdugo he has 1 year left on his contract. So it's not as if, like investment wise, it's $9 million, I believe, approximately that he'll be owed in 2024. Verdugo, he is a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of power, doesn't hit for a whole lot of power. Maybe the short porch can do him well. I'm not sure, but he's someone that usually hits for average. This past season was a major step down, which was 264, which would have been, for Yankees terms, would have been one of the best. But for him, it's less than, he's really like a 280 type of guy. Doesn't strike out a whole lot too, which is nice. He's a contact-oriented hitter. I mean, just in terms of what he can bring for this lineup, it's important. The Yankees needed a left-handed bat, needed it to be an outfielder, and so that box is checked. What does it mean defensively is a very good question. Soto or not Soto? Verdugo is a corner outfielder. Now, will he potentially be forced to play center field? I guess that's possible. Is there a world in which Alex Verdugo gets traded, gets flipped to the Padres for Soto? That's possible, but my sense is that's not the case. I do think that the intention is that he will be a Yankee this season. But it does make you wonder just in terms of like what's going to happen, because Juan Soto's not playing center field. I can tell you that. He will not. So it comes down to right now Judge or Verdugo, and this is, with Dominguez out for at least half the season. So Verdugo, I think where he likely ends up is left field. I think that's the likely situation. I actually think, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but I think Judge is probably more likely between the two to play center field. That's just my opinion. And I don't love that, to be honest with you. I question the outfield defensive alignment with Soto or without Soto. I mean, I guess without Soto, I guess it would make more sense, right? You just put Verdugo in left, and that wouldn't be a big deal, right? So I guess my mind is kind of, and we'll talk about Juan Soto and how realistic that is that he becomes a Yankee. But Verdugo, it was a down offensive season for him last year. 264, had a 745 OPS, 13 homers, and 54 RBIs. And it didn't seem like he really saw eye to eye with Alex Cora. There were some issues. I think lack of hustle led to him being benched. So you have to, that is something that you have to consider, right? And like, that's not what you want, but hopefully that's something that isn't a major part of his game. Apparently he showed up late to the stadium late in the season, and he got benched for that. So it seemed as if this was him parting ways with the Red Sox. Seemed like it was going to happen. He's really, I'm not sure if the stats bear this out, but I think they do. He's been a Red Sox for the last 4 seasons, and it seems like he's really done damage versus the Yankees. I think of so many times versus Clay Holmes where he came through, but Verdugo seems like a pretty clutch player. And so I really do like the addition to the lineup. I really, really do. And he's shown like he can hit for power, but we haven't really seen it in a few years. Like 2019, 2020, the slug was pretty good. 475 with the Dodgers, and then 478 with the Red Sox in that shortened 2020 season. But 2021, like, that was a really good year. About a 289 at a 777 OPS. Only struck out, like, he always strikes out less than 100 times, which is always a good barometer. Like, his strikeout percentage is like 15%. So I like that a lot. And hey, not for nothing, the one time he was in the postseason, it was a good one. 2021, where the Red Sox knocked out the Yankees in that wildcard game. Verdugo in 11 games, 310 batting average, 835 OPS, 5 walks and 3 strikeouts. So I like that. And we'll see. Verdugo, you would think that this ends up being a one-year situation, but I don't know. Maybe it works out great. And look, Alex Verdugo is 27 years old. So, a young player that is, in the prime of his career, coming off a down year and a contract year. I really do like Verdugo as a player. Now, I understand, there's been, and it was really Yankee fans' fault. Like, they threw a few years ago at Yankee Stadium in left field, a fan threw a baseball at him, which is just ridiculous. But, I don't want to say that Verdugo, that there's a checkered past with Verdugo, but like I said before, in terms of the lack of hustle and, showing up to the stadium late, like, maybe there are some things for him to work on, on a non-baseball level. I can't speak to that, not having seen him play and following the Red Sox, but I do from afar, and not from that afar, because he was in the division for the last 4 seasons, really like what he could bring to this lineup. And you didn't give up that much. Like, Greg Weissert, very replaceable. I think that he could, like I said, I could see like the Red Sox straightening him out, and he could be a guy that, I could see that, honestly. And then with Fitts, you just never know. But like that could be something. But again, like, all in all, on the surface, they didn't really give up a whole lot for what I think is a good player. Nothing more, nothing less. He's not a star. I think that he was highly thought of. He was in the Mookie Betts trade from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Like, this was someone that was always very highly thought of, and is a very good hitter, a very good professional hitter. And like with the Yankees, you wanted an outfielder, you wanted him to be left-handed, and you didn't want them to strike out that much. Like, they check off all those boxes. It kind of reminds you a little bit of when the Yankees got Andrew Benintendi, who's another former Red Sox outfielder. But with Verdugo, like, I kind of have higher hopes for Verdugo than Benintendi. Now, when the Yankees got Benintendi, he was hitting really well with Kansas City. From a batting average standpoint, there was no power to speak of, even less than what Verdugo provides. But Verdugo's younger. I actually have higher expectations for him, and I think deservedly so. And hopefully a bounce-back season is in order, because, again, this past season was not great for his standards. But it is exciting. And so now what? What happens as far as Juan Soto? And it does sound like talks are really intensifying. I want to keep it to Verdugo here, right? Because hopefully we'll have more. And it's crazy that we're at the point now where the rumors are heating up so much that at this point, not getting Soto would be a disappointment. It's crazy, but it's true. So if Soto comes in, again, I think what would happen, and you can't forget about the fact that you can't count on Stanton to be healthy. So the DH could open up. But let's say everyone's healthy. I think, and again, I don't think this is great, but I think it would be Verdugo in left, Judge in center. Now Verdugo in left, Judge in center, Soto in right. I think is your most likely situation. But I suppose that, because I don't think Soto would really be well equipped to handle left field at Yankee Stadium. Verdugo is the better defensive outfielder than Soto. So I think that Soto in right is almost definite, but it really leaves a lot of questions. I have to be honest. I don't love that part of it. But I do take the trade-off with what you're getting offensively. And look, Verdugo, I think can be, I believe he was up for Gold Glove for right field this year. And the Fenway is a tough right field. Verdugo did not grade out well as a center fielder. So that's why I don't love that. Like, I don't think that's the route to take, but I also don't love Judge playing center field either. And Soto is not an option for center. He is strictly corner outfield, no question. And so we'll see how that goes. But don't want to go too far into that. Want to keep it to this trade. But a rare Yankee-Red Sox trade. The only one in recent memory that had any bit of significance, because the Yankees did make a minor deal like this year, I think, like involving Greg Allen with the Red Sox. But the only one in recent memory, and by that I mean last 10, 20 years, was 2014, where the Yankees acquired Stephen Drew and traded Kelly Johnson. I think it was Kelly Johnson that went to the Red Sox, and Stephen Drew went to the Yanks. I think that was the way it went down. Again, like the Yankees at that point were not, wasn't one of the better Yankee teams. So again, one of the bigger trades that you'll find between these two rivals. But again, Verdugo Yankee for now, and I do think that it will last that way. And we'll see what else comes here. I would expect some more Yankee news coming in the not too distant future, as you have the winter meetings going on in Nashville right now. And tomorrow, I believe, is the last day of the winter meetings. Again, Alex Verdugo traded from the Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees.